Chapter 3. When we reached the manor, Father ordered me to change into something clean and to hurry down to greet the guests who were arriving to pay their respects. My room was peaceful. Everything was just as it had been before Mother died. The birds embroidered into the coverlet of my bed were safe in their world of cross-stitched leaves. My diary was in the dresser. The friends of my childhood, Flora and the ragdoll and Rosamond, the wooden doll, and the girl in the gown with 7 flounces, nestled in their basket. I sat on the bed, fighting my need to obey. Father ordered to change and go back downstairs. Although I wanted to draw comfort from my room, from my bed, from the light breeze coming through the window, I kept thinking instead of Father and getting dressed. Once I had overheard Bertha tell Mandy that he was only person on the outside, and that his insides were ash mixed with coins and brain. Mandy had disagreed. He's human through and through. No other creature would be able to be as selfish as he is, not fairies or gnomes or elephants or giants. For a full 3 minutes, I delayed getting dressed. It was a terrible game I played, trying to break my curse, seeing how long I could last against the need to do what I'd been told. There was a buzzing in my ear, and the floor seemed to tilt so far that I feared I would slide off the bed. I hugged my pillows until my arms hurt, as if the pillows were an anchor against the falling orders. In a second, I was going to fly apart into 1,000 pieces. I stood and walked into my wardrobe. Immediately, I felt perfectly fine. Although I suspected Father wanted me to wear another morning gown, I put a frock on Mother liked best. She said the spicy green brought out my eyes. I thought I looked like a grasshopper in it, a skinny, spiky grasshopper with a human head and straight hair. But at least the gown wasn't black. She hated black clothing. The great hall was full of people in black. Father came to me instantly. "Here's my lass, young Eleanor," he said loudly. He led me in, whispering, "You look like a weed that in that gown. You're supposed to be in mourning. They think you have no respect for you." I engulfed from behind by 2 chubby arms encased in rustling black satin. "My poor child, we feel for you." The voice was syrupy. And Sir Peter, it's dreadful to see you on such a tragic occasion." An extra tight squeeze, and I was released. The speaker was a tall, plump lady with long, wavy, honey-colored tresses. Her face was pasty white with twin spots of rouge on her cheeks. With her were 2 smaller versions of herself, but without the rouge. The younger one also lacked her mother's auburn hair. Instead, she had thick curls stuck together to her scalp, though they were glued. "This is Dame Olga," Father said, touching the tall lady's arm. I curtsied and knocked into the younger girl. "Beg your pardon," I said. She didn't answer, didn't move, only watched me. Father continued, "Are these your lovely daughters? These are my treasure. This is Hattie and this is Olive. They are off to finishing school in a few days." Hattie was older than I by about 2 years. "Delighted to make your acquaintance," she said, smiling and showing her large teeth. She held her hand out to me as though I expected me to kiss her or bow it. I stared, uncertain what to do. She lowered her arm but continued to smile. Olive was the one that I bumped. "I'm glad to meet you," she said, her voice too loud. She was about my age. The furrows of her frown were permanently etched between her eyes. "Comfort Eleanor in her grief," Dame Olga told her daughters. "I want to talk to Sir Peter." She took Father's arms and they left us. "Our heart weeps for you," Hattie began. "When you bellowed at the funeral, I thought, what a poor thing." "Green isn't a mourning color," Olive said. Hattie surveyed the room. "This is a fine hall, almost as fine as a palace. Where I'm going to live someday. Our mother, Dame Olga, says your father is very rich. She says he can make money out of anything." "Out of a toenail," Olive suggested. "Our mother, Dame Olga, says your father was poor when he married your mother. Our mother says Lady Eleanor was rich when they got married, but your father made her richer." "We're rich too," Olive said. "We're lucky to be rich." "Would you show us the rest of the manor?" Hattie asked. We went upstairs, and Hattie had to look everywhere. She opened the wardrobes in Mother's room, and before I could stop her, ran her hands over Mother's gowns. When we got back to the hall, she announced 42 windows and a fireplace in every room. The windows must have cost a trunkful of gold KJs. "Do you want to know about our manor?" Olive asked. I didn't care if they lived in a hollow log. "You'll have to visit us and see for sure," Hattie said in response to my silence. We stood near the side of the table, which was loaded with mountains of food, from a wholesome roast heart with ivy threaded through his antlers, and to butter cookies as small as lacy snowflakes. I wondered how Mandy had time to cook it all. Would you like something to eat? Eat, Olive began, but her sister interrupted firmly. Oh, no, thank you. We never eat at parties. The excitement quite takes away our appetite. My appetite? Olivia tried again. Our appetites are small. Mother worries, but it looks delicious. Hattie edged towards the food. Quail eggs are such a delicacy. 10 brass kgs apiece. Olive, there are at least 50 at least. More quail eggs and windows. I like gooseberry tarts, Olive said. We mustn't, Hattie said. Well, maybe a little. The giant could eat half of a leg of a deer, a huge mound of wild rice, and 8 of the 50 quail eggs, and go back for dessert, but Hattie could. Olive ate even more, gooseberry tarts and a currant bread and cream trifles and plum puddings and chocolate bonbons and spice cakes, all dribbled over with butter rum sauce and apricot sauce and peppermint sauce. They brought their plates close to their faces so their forks had the shortest distance to travel. Olive ate steadily, but Hattie put her fork down every so often to pat her mouth daintily with a napkin. She tucked in again as avidly as ever. It was disgusting to watch. I looked down at a throw rug that used to lie under Mother's chair. Today it had been moved near the food. I had never concentrated on it before. A hound and hunter chased the boar towards the fringe of the scarlet wool. As I started, I saw movement. Wind stirred it by the grass, by the boar's feet. I blinked and the movement stopped. I stared again and it started again. The dog had just bayed. I felt my throat relax. One of his hunters limped. I felt a cramp in his calf. The boar gasped for breath and ran out of fear and rage. What are you looking at? Olive asked as she finished eating. I stared. I felt it as if I had been the rug. Nothing, just a carpet. I glanced at the rug again, an ordinary carpet with an ordinary design. Your eyes were popping out. They looked like an ogre's eyes, Hattie said. Buggy. But you look normal now. She never looked normal. She looked like a rabbit, a fat one, the kind Mandy liked to slaughter for stew, and Olive's face was blank as a peeled potato. I don't suppose your eyes ever pop out, I said. I don't think so, Hattie said, smiled complacently. They're too small to pop. The smile remained, but it now seemed pasted on. I forgive you, child. We're in a peerage. We are in the peerage, are forgiven. Your poor mother used to be known for her ill breeding too. Mother used to be known? The past tense froze on my tongue. Girls, Dame Olga bore down on us. We must be going. She hugged me and my nose filled with the stink of spoiled milk. They left. Father was outside the iron gate saying goodbye to the rest of the guests, and I went to Mandy in the kitchen. She's piling dirty dishes. Seems like those people don't eat for weeks. I put on an apron and pumped the water in the sink. They never tasted your food before. Mandy's cooking was the best, better than anybody else's. Mother and I used to try her recipes sometimes. We'd follow the instructions exactly, and the dish would be delicious, but never as wonderful as when Mandy cooked it. Somehow it reminded me of the rug. The carpet in the hall with the hunters and the boar. You know that the one? Something funny happened to it when I looked at it before. Oh, that silly thing. You shouldn't pay attention to that rug. She turned and stirred the pot of soup. What do you mean? It's a fairy joke. A fairy rug? How do you know? It belonged to Lady, Mandy said, always called Mother Lady. It wasn't the answer. Did my fairy godmother give it to her? A long time ago. Did Mother ever tell you who your fairy godmother is? No, she didn't. Where's your father? He's outside saying goodbye. Do you know anyway, even though she never told you? Know what? Who my fairy godmother is. If she wanted you to know, your mother would have told you. She was going to. She promised to tell me, Mandy. I am. You're not telling me who it is. Me. Your fairy godmother is me. Here, taste the carrot soup. It's for dinner. How is it?